Oukitel isn't a well-known brand, even in China. They usually make phones for other brands, but they have recently stepped out of their comfort zone and are making self-branded phones. Their third smartphone, the Oukitel U8, also known as the Universe Tab, has a one-touch unlock/screen on gesture, which I am quite excited about. I predict lazy people will love this feature. More about that later. Not only that, they seem to have taken great care in packing in some decent specs and build quality at its low retail price. So, let's get started. The Oukitel U8 is in my opinion very good looking. Everyone I've shown this phone to has asked me what brand it is because it looks so good, but then when I say Oukitel, they're like, what? It is quite compact for a 5.5-inch phone. While it's not as compact as the positively tiny LG G3, it is about the same size as the OnePlus One and a little smaller than the iPhone 6 Plus. It is only a little bigger than my THL5000 as well. It is quite heavy, almost 40 grams heavier than most other smartphones, topping out at around 200 grams. But you know what? 200 grams isn't going to kill you or tire you out, so it's something you quickly get used to, so it's not something you should be worrying about. In addition, the heft makes it feel more premium as well. The glass also features a 2.5D arc screen. This basically means that the edge of the glass is rounded and kinda matches the contour of the metal bezels, giving you about a continuous round edge, but this is mostly an aesthetic feature. The bumper around the entire phone is metal, shiny, and is high quality, most likely machined. The metal makes it feel great and looks pretty good. However, from some angles it can look a little too shiny and resembles cheap chrome plastic, but only from some angles. The volume and power buttons are located on the right side of the phone and of great quality as well. The left side has the SIM tray that has two MicroSIM slots, and one of them doubles as a microSD card slot, and I really don't like this, as this makes you choose between a dual SIM or a single SIM and expandable storage. The back of the device is textured with matte plastic, providing a good grip while feeling good in hand. However, it does attract and show fingerprints quite easily. The back of the phone is not removable. While the back of the phone feels good in hand, it does not feel as premium as phones constructed out of aluminum or glass. The speaker grill is located on the back near the bottom of the phone. The camera and LED flash are located in the middle along the center line of the phone. Below the camera is the fingerprint sensor. It is placed correctly so that your finger can reach it properly. The Oukitel logo is also present and isn't too flashy. However, the camera sticks out from the back of the phone, so you have to be careful when placing the phone down. Although I have very small hands, I'm slowly getting used to 5.5-inch phones, and this one seems to be almost compact enough for me, as I still use a 5-inch phone as my daily driver, my THL5000. Objectively, the Oukitel U8 has good build quality, and based on people's reactions to it in real life, it is very good looking. A 1280 by 720 resolution on a 5.5-inch screen is becoming a trend in budget phones these days. Perfectly acceptable for me, but for others it might not be good enough. They didn't cheap out on the panel either, as the screen quality is quite good. The screen is very colorful. Colors are not as accurate as other screens, but seems overly saturated, kinda like AMOLED screens. Not that I mind, I actually quite like it. The saturated colors make the screen itself look playful and cheery, and the lower pixel density doesn't affect the experience at all. The screen is bright enough. I estimate it to be about 400 nits, but it definitely could be brighter. I'm quite satisfied with the display. Not much to complain about here. The speaker can output very loud sound, even louder than my Moto G, which is one of the loudest loudspeakers of any smartphone. You can actually hurt your ears if you place the speaker too close to your face. Quality, however, is not good at all. There is a significant amount of static at the highest volume, and music quality in general is flat. I am very happy with the audio volume, but quite disappointed in the audio quality.
Seems like everybody's got a price. I wonder how they sleep at night. When the sound comes first and the truth comes second, just stop.
Oukitel has really put a heavy emphasis on battery life on this phone, possibly at the expense of performance, which I'll discuss later. They use a 2850 mAh battery and an underclocked version of the MTK6735 at 1 GHz. This combination has great potential for good battery life, so let's see how it performs. I set the screen brightness to 250 nits and reloaded web pages over Wi-Fi every few seconds. The phone died after about 6.5 hours. In a video playback test, the screen brightness was 250 nits, and a standard definition video was played. The phone played back video for a disappointing 5 hours and 13 minutes. These results are quite underwhelming. Older phones like the Ulefone B Pro get better battery results than this. However, real-life battery usage is extremely good. The phone was off the charger for a total of 18 hours. During that time, Wi-Fi, data, and GPS was always on. Screen gestures and fingerprint unlock was also activated as well. I racked up a total of 5 hours of screen on time, mostly web browsing, social media, light gaming, and texting, and at the end of the day, I had 15% left. That is definitely heavy use, and I still had enough battery to spare. The battery tests and real-life battery usage don't match, which is extremely weird. However, looking at my real-life battery usage, the underclocked MTK6735 processor, combined with a large battery, has given this phone a strong showing in battery life. This phone will get you through a full day of heavy use, no problem, and 2 days of light use. Apart from the weird battery test results, I am very satisfied with the battery life on this phone. The Oukitel U8 comes with Android 5.1 Lollipop pre-installed, which is great. Oukitel has overlaid a customized skin on top of stock Android, which looks very similar to MyUI or iOS. I personally do not like this at all and installed Google Now Launcher to get back the stock look and feel. The Lollipop user experience itself is quite good. Swiping between home screens, launching apps, and general use is all quite fluid. Then again, basic tasks like these are not going to stress out the processor. Smart gestures allow users to draw certain gestures on the screen while it is off to do certain things, like launching apps or waking the device by double tapping on the screen. Oukitel's suite of smart gestures are a lot more robust than other Chinese phones and even name brand phones, as they have other very useful gestures like double swiping that changes the volume of the phone, and my personal favorite, double tap the home button to lock the screen. I am extremely happy with Oukitel's smart gestures, and other phone manufacturers should look to Oukitel as they have the best gestures so far. Standard air gestures are also included with this phone, but there are not many cases where they will come in useful. They work okay though. I was quite excited about the fingerprint unlock feature on the Oukitel, as I hate the two-step process of turning on the phone then drawing a pattern to unlock. Oukitel has simplified this into a one-step process. Just place your finger on the fingerprint sensor in any orientation, and the phone turns on and unlocks in one go. Perfect, right? Well, almost. One issue is the orientation of the fingerprint sensor. Although Oukitel claims that the fingerprint sensor can be used in any orientation, 360 degrees as they call it, accuracy is definitely affected by the orientation of your finger. It definitely isn't as accurate as the fingerprint sensor on the iPhone 6. I was able to improve my accuracy by first registering my fingerprint completely straight, and then a little bit askew, which is how your finger would touch the sensor if you were holding it. After using and recording the successful and failed locks, the fingerprint sensor was about 90% accurate, definitely good enough for me. There is no notification LED on this phone, which has become a standard feature in almost every single half-decent phone. You might have to get a wearable if you want notifications or just settle for really loud ringtones and vibrations. Pause the video to see if your language is supported. Oukitel partitioned 4 gigs or so for the phone and partitioned the rest as the SD card, resulting in less usable space. I think most people would prefer if all the storage wasn't separated at all. So far, I haven't shown you anything that could stress out this chip, as it was mostly basic stuff. However, gaming, multitasking, and benchmarking is where the phone will truly be put to the test. And to be honest, I don't have high hopes for this processor. The MTK6735 chip is already a mid-range chip, and this version is underclocked. Well, surprisingly, intense gaming was okay on this phone. There was a tiny bit of lag, but it was mostly playable, probably because of the lower 720p resolution. I also played less intense games like Boom Beach, and there was absolutely no lag at all. Multitasking was also okay, as long as you don't have 20 or 30 apps open at one time. I ran Antutu as well and got a very low score of about 20,000, which is understandable due to the underclocked mid-range chip. Regarding the performance of this phone, if you just use a few apps like internet, texting, social media, and some games, maybe even some mid-range to intense ones, you should be fine. But if you regularly have about like 20 to 30 apps open at the same time, or you're playing the most intense games on Android, then you might want to look at other phones that have the MTK6752 processor. This phone supports quad-band GSM as well as dual-band WCDMA. Apparently, Oukitel locked out half the WCDMA bands through software, so check out the website willmyphonework.net before you buy it. It also supports quad-band FDD-LTE. My phone switched to 4G after waiting a minute, and I performed multiple speed tests in different areas of Toronto. and I obtained speeds anywhere from 36 to 25 megabits a second, which is not bad, but it's also not the fastest. Wi-Fi reception was also just okay, nothing special, and so was Bluetooth. GPS signal was also just average, as it lost signal once during my drive to work and jumped around about 10 feet around me. Oukitel has placed an OmniVision camera sensor in their phone, so let's see how the camera performs. Camera quality is definitely adequate. It is sharp enough, color reproduction is good enough, and I'm quite satisfied with daylight performance on this camera. However, there seems to be serious quality degradation the less light there is, which is quite common in many Chinese phones. There is some camera lag when moving it around, and it seems to be software related, mostly in face beauty mode that is. The front-facing camera is average, good enough for video calls and maybe some selfies. So what is the verdict on the Oukitel U8 Universe Tap? It has good specifications, good build quality, and a good battery life. However, the 720p screen might stop some. Mid-range devices are getting cheaper and cheaper. This is an MTK6735 5.5-inch phone for just $120 or $30. You really can't complain at that price. This is a beautiful phone, it has good build quality, good battery, adequate processor, and a smooth software experience that makes it worth the ticket price. On the other hand, the 720p screen and the inability to play the most intense games on Android might be a deal breaker for power users. In conclusion, if you are not a power user, this phone will satisfy all your needs. But if you are a heavy power user, you should go for an MTK6752 phone instead, like the MLace M52 Red Note. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day. If you want to see more videos like this, hit the subscribe button, and also check out the other videos that should be popping up right about now.